Baku hosts a UN-led regional conference which has brought together leaders from the countries of Central Asia and Azerbaijan. SPECA, a UN program, was created in 1998 as a platform of economic dialogue and cooperation. The leaders of the SPECA states have never met in this format before. This is the first time. Recent data shows strong economic growth in the region, and this summit no doubt reflects a collective will to join forces to boost the economies even further. I have had the opportunity to meet with the leaders of Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan on the sidelines of the summit, asking them about strategies of these crucial regional economic players. Hello, Mr. President.
Hello.
Azerbaijan and countries of the Central Asia region experienced significant economic growth in 2023, according to estimates from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. This strong growth is attributed to a high level of migration and remittances originating from Russia, which is under sanctions. Additionally, there has been an increase in regional exports and imports, including business with China. The outlook for 2024 shows the same positive trend. What does this growth mean for your country?
As far as Azerbaijan is concerned, our economic development and growth mainly is generated by our reforms rather than those factors which you mentioned. We managed to reduce the level of people who lived in poverty during the last 20 years from almost 50% to 5.5%. We also worked actively in order to reduce the level of foreign debt, and now it is below 10% of our GDP. So the target for the next year is 7% of GDP. So this actually demonstrates the sustainability of Azerbaijan's economy.
Kazakhstan is contributing to this economic growth of Central Asia. The economic growth of my country is expected to be 5% this year. I think that it's a very good result of our joint efforts, but at the same time, we are not complacent. And I urge my government to be more ambitious, to look for additional resources of economic growth, because I put a task that in 2029, the economic potential and the economic size of my country should be doubled. It means that we need 6 or 7% of economic growth in the very nearest future.
What are your future areas of development and investments?
Development and attracting investments from abroad are top priorities for Kazakhstan. We are very happy that the international ranking of Kazakhstan has been upgraded by the international institutions. Kazakhstan is number one in this part of the world, or even beyond, in terms of attracting foreign investments per capita. Energy sector is extremely important, but at the same time, we pin our hopes on developing critical materials. And in this respect, we are very much hopeful about our future cooperation with the European Union. We committed ourselves to be good partners in this very sensitive and strategically important area. It's also one of our priorities. We need international cooperation. We need more investment in this area. And I believe that in this particular area, Kazakhstan and the European Union will become good partners and will be very much successful.
As far as the governmental policy is concerned, our state investment program mainly will be directed to the liberated areas of Karabakh. According to our plan, by the end of 2026, we plan to resettle more than 140,000 people. So that will be a main area of the state investment program. With respect to foreign investments, of course, investments in fossil fuel projects will continue because there is a big potential in Azerbaijan with respect to resources and big demand in Europe for Azerbaijani gas, growing demand. But very remarkable development is related to renewable sources of energy. I think this will be the main areas of investments, along with our agenda on digital transformation.
Energy supply has been a major topic for Europe over the last 2 years. What is your outlook for your country's energy business?
Well, our energy development transformed from oil to gas. At the same time, oil production and export still is an important part of energy security for many countries. But the completion almost 3 years ago, the major gas infrastructure project, Southern Gas Corridor, which is an integrated pipelines system of 3,500 kilometer length, it created opportunity for Azerbaijan to increase the geography of its gas supplies. Today, we export gas to Georgia, Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, Italy, Romania, and we signed contracts with Hungary, with Serbia, and also Albania will be part of our gas distribution plans. And demand for Azerbaijani gas is growing, and we positively responded to the request from the European Commission to increase the gas supply to European continent with respect to the sanctions on Russia. And this will continue to be an important part of our business. At the same time, I already mentioned the renewable sources of energy. So that will allow Azerbaijan to have a very smooth transition from fossil fuels to renewables. At the same time, to provide European consumers with green energy.
Energy business is one of major pillars of our economy. Kazakhstan is very rich in terms of energy resources, and there is no need to give up this kind of economic development. And of course, we will put appropriate investments in order to give additional impetus to the energy sector of my country. But at the same time, of course, we are very much positive to making Kazakhstan non-carbon country, and I promise that till the end of 2060, Kazakhstan will be fully decarbonized.
Which is quite a challenge as far as I understand.
Yes, it's a challenge. It needs to make a huge change in our mindsets, first of all. But I do acknowledge that it's a general trend in the economic development of the whole world. And Kazakhstan is not going to lag behind of this trend. At the same time, we are very much committed to the protection of the environment. And yes, Kazakhstan still is a country which relies on coal in its energy balance. But I think that in the nearest future, the whole situation will be changing quite positively.
And what are your concerns about the risks to your country's economic development?
Frankly speaking, I don't see any risks because so far our economic development was very positive. A lot of wealth will be generated from the connectivity projects, South-North and East-West transportation corridor. We expect tens of millions of cargo, additional, crossing Azerbaijan's territory in different directions. It means employment, it means additional funds, it means geopolitical importance of Azerbaijan. The self-sufficient economy with good political connections with the major international actors and the political stability and unity in the country. So all these factors demonstrate that internal risks we don't have. External, yes, but that will depend on the situation beyond our borders. We have war beyond our borders to the north. We have an unstable situation in Middle East. We have potential tensions in the neighborhood. So that could be a potential risk for Azerbaijan. For that purpose, we need to pay bigger attention or more attention to the protection of our borders.
A lot of risks do exist in this very complex world. You are quite aware about some geopolitical upheavals that do exist in this world, but we are very much committed to the international cooperation. Kazakhstan is an open market economy, and we believe that Kazakhstan may serve as a good, reliable partner of many countries. And I think that Kazakhstan plays a very important role in our region, in Central Asia, but even beyond.
Business relocation, migration and remittances from Russia are among the reasons for economic growth in Central Asia. How Kazakhstan sees its future relations with Moscow, and what is your strategy on the international arena?
Russia is a strategic partner of Kazakhstan. We share the longest on-land border in the world with Russia. And we have traditions of good cooperation that should be kept, or at least should not be rejected. And I believe that despite some upheavals on the international arena, we will be continuously working together. And perhaps you are quite aware about the recent visit of President Putin to Kazakhstan, which came out to be quite successful in terms of giving additional impetus to developing cooperation between both states. We still believe that Russia is a good partner, strategic partner of Kazakhstan. We are members of the same international organizations and structures, and Russia plays a very important role in the current world. Some people argue that it plays a negative role. Some people believe that it plays a positive role. But nevertheless, in general, we should acknowledge that Russia is extremely important and it needs to be cooperated with, and Kazakhstan is doing so. Kazakhstan conducts a diversified international policy. We have excellent relationship with China, with our partners in Central Europe, as well as in Western Europe. And of course, we have relations of strategic partnership with the United States. So it fully conforms the geographical location of Kazakhstan, which is the 9th largest territory in the world. So our policy will be continuously diversified.
In an interview with Euronews back this summer, you said that you hoped that peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan can be achieved by the end of the year. Do you still maintain this position that peace can be achieved, especially after tens of thousands had to leave their homes? And what is next for the dynamics of this region?
Well, yes, I was optimistic about the timetable because we exchanged several times with Armenia the comments on the original draft peace treaty, which Azerbaijan elaborated itself. And after that, there have been 6 times of exchange of comments between two countries. And when I was talking about that last time to Euronews, I hope that Armenia will not prolong the process of evaluation of our comments. We submitted the last comments to them on 11th September and received a response from them only 2 days ago. So almost 2.5 months, they were evaluating the draft, which consists of several pages. What does that mean? That means that they want artificially to delay the process. Now, we are talking in the end of November, and of course the hopes for achieving peace and signing peace treaty by the end of the year are not very optimistic. But I think that the timetable is not so important. Important is the agenda of both countries. We will evaluate their latest proposals and will comment on that. In the meantime, we are maintaining the contacts on the working level between different officials and through different channels. And I think there's no alternative for peace. If peace agreement is not signed, that will be very bad for the whole region. We want region of Southern Caucasus to get rid of any risks And of course, we want Armenia today and in the future never put under question our territorial integrity and abandon completely any territorial claims to Azerbaijan.
So what are the conditions for peace to be achieved?
We elaborated 5 basic principles for which should be the basis for peace agreement. Mutual recognition of each other's territorial integrity, non-use of force, no territorial claims to each other, opening of the communications between both countries, and normalization of relations. All of those have been based on international law. During the 3 years, almost 3 years of negotiation process, Armenia always wanted to incorporate into peace agreement provision with respect to Armenian minority in Karabakh. Our position was that this is our internal business. And if they want to reflect the issue of Armenian minority in Azerbaijan, then let us reflect the issue of Azerbaijani minority in Armenia, which was expelled 30 years ago. So our position was that it must be reciprocal. Either we reflect these 2 issues of national minorities, their rights and security, including the right to return, not only Armenians to return to Azerbaijan, but Azerbaijanis to return to Armenia. The fact is just, it must be reciprocal. Or we do not comment in our peace agreement about this issue. So until now, we did not get from Armenia any clear understanding on that. If Armenia agrees to have either the same language for both national minorities or not to reflect it at all, then the peace is reachable. Because this was the main obstacle for Armenia when they were negotiating with us. So we will see how it goes, and frankly speaking, I don't see now, from logical point of view, I don't see any serious obstacle to sign a peace agreement.
And what about those people who left their homes?
Those people who left their homes, first of all, that was their own decision. Our public communications with Karabakh Armenians and also what we did after demonstrated that we wanted them to stay. We openly announced that all of those who want to come back, they have their right. Their property is duly protected. All the historical and religious sites are duly protected. In order to come back, they need to comply with certain regulations. They need to apply for Azerbaijani citizenship, because how people can live in Azerbaijan being a citizen of other country, either citizenship or work permit or residence permit. If they want to live in Azerbaijan as citizens of Azerbaijan, of course they can. Azerbaijan is a multi-ethnic country, multi-confessional country. We have many ethnic groups in Azerbaijan. Some of these ethnic groups, the number of these ethnic groups, people who belong to them, is much bigger than Armenian population in Karabakh. And all of them live in peace, they enjoy all the rights and security. And in our proposal to Karabakh Armenians, which was, by the way, published, we also covered their rights for their language, for education, religion, municipal rights. They can elect their representatives through municipal elections and continue to live there. The decision to leave was their own decision, and according to information which we now have access to, that was a deliberate act of former so-called leaders of so-called Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. But again, coming back to the question, they can come back. Today, we have Armenians and Azerbaijanis living side by side in Russia, living side by side in Ukraine, and even in the same villages in Georgia. And why they cannot live in Azerbaijan or in Armenia? I think they can.